no matter what path you choose to walk, and whether you believe or not, you can be certain that a fairy is watching.
Okay, so my husband and I went Hagstone looking over the last couple of days, and this is one that he found, and I believe you can see the ground through there. Really a neat looking, almost like a bone. And then I found, sorry, I've only got two hands here. This is the one that I found. And Hagstones, it is said, will help with finding fairies. So I thought for a fun project to do, we could go down onto the trail in my backyard and test these fairy stones. I'll put them up to my eye and see if I can see anything or feel anything, and we'll do, let's say, 5 pictures per stone along the trail and see what we get in the pictures. So I'm just going to walk up here onto the trail and get us down to an area that's actually a bit wooded. It's such a beautiful, beautiful trail. Not very long, but it's beautiful and nice to have right in the backyard. So I don't know what to expect when I look through the Hagstone, and I'm going to look through the one my husband found first and see what that gives me, if anything. So let's see. Not sure if I should look through it this way or if I should look through it this way. I think I kind of feel better this way. Turn it like that. All right, so I'm gonna try this. And see if I feel anything. Okay, I feel like I should take a picture right down here. This is part 1 of the Hagstone videos. This is mainly to keep the time down on the videos. I did not expect to have to do this, but you'll soon see why. Also, this first part, this first Hagstone, has all the videos as I found the location I wanted to photograph through the Hagstone. The second one only has the pictures because I was running out of battery power on my digital camera. So that one will be a little bit shorter than this one. This is the very first photograph in full on the screen here. And as you can see, there are 7 rectangular or square boxes in the picture. 2 of them have a white X by them. Those 2 are not going to be shown to you because they were way too small. When I enlarged them, you couldn't even tell that they were anything. So you will be getting 5 of them from this first picture. So this first fairy almost received an X also because he is so small. But I was able to make him big enough for you to see the really awesome fuzzy hair. And he has both arms, 2 big black eyes, and is also wearing a cloak. Tall grass is pretty much a guarantee to find one or two fairies within, it's a great place for them to hide and a great place for them to blend. And here we have a small boy, it looks like. We can see the hair, the eyes, the nose that I didn't mark, the cheek on the one side, the neck, and the shoulder. Again in the tall grass, actually very close to the fairy I just showed you. That fairy is off to the left of this one. And this could be a female, I'm not sure. We have a hat, but it almost seems to have a veil. Either that or it's like a toque. Anyway, we can see the top of the hat, which is kind of domed. We have eyes. The nose I didn't mark, the mouth I didn't mark, but I did mark the chin for you, and also a shoulder. Trees are also another pretty good place for fairies to be. You can see this one. He has his stomach pressed up against the tree, and we can see his face turned our way, but he is squished up into that tree, doing his best to hide. But we can see his hat with a little ball on it. We can see his face, one eye, his nose, and sort of his mouth and chin. We see an arm and we see a hand. And he's wearing what appears to be a long robe, or he's just blended himself into that tree. I missed this one the first time round going through this photo, although he stands out very clearly now that you can see him, or that I can see him. He has a pointed hat. We can see both ears, at least the tip of one ear and the whole of another. He has a full beard. His mouth is in an O shape, and we can also see his arms and his hands. This was a pretty cool one. It's definitely easier to see in the photo on the left with the rectangle around him, at least for me. Okay, so that was the first one, and I'm going to move along, and I'm going to just keep the camera going here while I'm looking through it. So remember, we've got 5 pictures. We've done one. And try not to run myself into anything. There's a few branches that stick out. Now I'm not noticing any change in like heat or anything like that in the stone as I'm walking. Okay, now I kind of get an impression that I should take a picture that way. Picture 2 here is blurry, as you can see, and what happened was I zoomed in with my camera to try and see if I could get better pictures or closer pictures of the fairies. And unfortunately my camera would not stabilize, and I took the picture anyway. I'm glad I did, because I believe I'm seeing things that I would not have seen if I had not done it that way. So let's take a look. This fairy seems to have created herself completely out of the foliage of the trees, but we can see hair, we can see eyes, both eyes very black, we can see nostrils if you look, we can see a mouth, and she even has a hair flower for a decoration. Here we have a fairy that's kind of ghostly, actually. We can see hair, we can see both eyes, and the shape of the head, and then the upper body, I didn't mark anything on it, but I believe there's hands maybe there. But I did mark the bottom of the body, which kind of, it's either one leg that we can see, or it has kind of the ghostly trail off that you see sometimes in movies. This tree fairy looks a bit grumpy to me. Maybe it's the shape of the eye, the one eye that we can see. He's either climbing the tree, or I almost swear I see a wing. I did not mark it, but I'll let you decide on that one. So we can see one eye, we can see his nose, his mouth, one hand, and one leg, but only kind of a partial of the leg. It's like some of the tree is hiding some of the leg. We seem to have gotten two fairies in this one. The face on the right hand side is eyes, nose, just the round face, and it looks like almost troll hair. The white one is actually a log in the picture, but as you can see, this log has a face attached. It has clothing, it has a shoulder and an elbow, and I believe that the hand from that elbow is behind the back. But this is definitely a fairy being. Okay, continuing on. And with my eye up on the stone, interesting. This is going to be just I feel like this is what stood out to me here. Almost looks like a fairy wing, doesn't it? Very interesting. Okay, anyway. Actually, I think I'll get a picture of that. Picture 3 has 3 fairies within it, and as I was saying previously, it was the fluffy kind of feathery thing that got caught in the Hagstone circle in the eye. That's what caught my attention. But of course, we can't just take a picture of that. We need an area here. So here it is. Again, we have a fairy in the tall grass down in the lower left corner of the photo, and we can see that he's wearing kind of a domed helmet. I'm calling it a helmet. You can tell that it's made from grass. We can see his eyes, his nose, his mouth, one ear, not pointed, it's shaped like an ear, and there is a body that you can see down below his head wearing dark clothing, but I didn't label anything because I can't see it well enough. Here we have a fairy that looks like he is royalty, and I say that because he appears to be wearing a crown. So he has spiky hair and the crown, he has both eyes, he's looking right at us, a mustache, and I've kind of taken black outline to show you what I'm assuming is his body in a cloak. So here is our feather friend, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that we did photograph a fairy of some kind. Now, we're all used to the Tinkerbell look. We do have a bun here, I believe, and we have 2 eyes, the wing, and you can actually see arms and a butt shape, and again going down into like a white vapor. So I will let you decide what you're seeing. Okay, I'm having a hard time getting the camera to focus so that I can look at things up close. So if they're a little bit far away, this is a problem. Okay, I feel like I need to go backwards and do along that branch down there, or that branch, it's a tree. It is a tree. So we're going to take 2 pictures on this one. Here is picture 4 from the first Hagstone, and as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 marked on the screen. 3 of them have red X's, and like before, this means that they were too small for me to actually enlarge them for you to see anything. So you'll be seeing 3 fairies from this picture. So we have a very white-haired, hippie style fairy here, it looks like. And he does have a lot of hair. We're talking hair on top with the headband, and then we do see one pointed ear, but he has a lot of whiskers and he has a goatee as well. I've also marked body in general. It's darker than the rest of him, but I'll let you decide what you're seeing body-wise. This is a unique looking fairy. It almost has a skeletal type head, not the right shape. It seems to be quite round, but it seems to have dark hollowed eyes. And I could not mark the nose without marking up the face, but it does have a nose, and its legs are like grass thin, and they're the color of grass. But what really got me was the hand that's coming down, and I marked the hand. At the base, or where the hand is, you can actually see a thumb and 2 of the fingers. So that was the main reason I looked at this one and said, yes, absolutely, this is a fairy. It's kind of sitting a little bit like a frog and leaned over. I missed this fairy also the first time through this photograph, and you're going to look at it and think, how could she possibly miss this? It stands out like no other, and it does. We see a very tall conical witch's type hat, the face in profile with the nose, the eye, the mouth, even an ear, and then she's holding a wand. It has the little light on the end. She's wearing kind of a fuzzy shawl and a dark dress. The reason I missed her is because she's so blended like shadow into the tree, the light and the dark. It was amazing. When I finally saw her, I was like, wow, that is phenomenal. She is phenomenal. So here is the last picture for the first Hagstone, the one that my husband found. This is zoomed up, so it's a bit blurry. And we do have 3 fairies in this photo. This is a very well blended fairy. You really have to look closely, but I've marked her knees. She's sitting on the ground, kind of cross-legged, and her face, she's looking down, but we can actually even see eyebrows. We can see her eyes that are kind of looking down, so it's more like the eyelash line, and her nose and her mouth. We can even see the shape of her cheeks, and we see hair and a very pointed hat. This looks to me to be a very serious fairy. His eyes don't seem as friendly as what I'm used to seeing from many of the fairies, but we can see both his eyes, his mouth, his nose is there too. He has a bearded chin. He has beard all the way pretty much up to the pointed ear that I've pointed out. And underneath his chin, I get kind of the feeling that he's not fully human body. For some reason, in my mind, I'm thinking centaur body. This fairy has also formed herself from the leaves. She's very, very clear. We can see that she's wearing a scarf over her hair, and we can see her face in profile, almost turned enough that we can see both eyes, her nose, her mouth, and her chin. And her arm is there as well, but it's partially hidden by the leaves in front of her. So that's it for this first video, this first Hagstone. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Share with me what you think of this process, what you think of the Hagstones, and whether you believe from seeing my other videos whether or not the Hagstones have actually worked. See you in part 2.